everyone, and welcome to Tabor Talk. I'm your host, Michael Tabor. So, I'm going to talk a little bit about the Matt Taibbi interview yesterday on Joe Rogan. Great surprise, nice Saturday interview. Matt Taibbi's one of my favorite journalists. He really got big after the 2008 financial crisis, right? Housing thing, and he wrote many articles. He writes for Rolling Stone. So, by the way, his father was Matt Taibbi, but his Matt Taibbi Jr. doesn't use the junior, so it was kind of confusing. When I first started reading him and I saw him on Joe, I'm like, holy shit, aren't you supposed to be like 80 years old? Like, you're just a kid. So interesting. Really nice guy, and talented and really interesting, fun, and all that. So, the future of journalism, this is really a very sad state of affairs with this fake news stuff. Like, who do you trust? And by the way, we're all in this sort of bubble, and we have tribes, and then fake news. So those are the three biggies. So, for example, let me just take with my situation. Like, if you look at my feed, it's relative to all of my interests, right? When I post something on YouTube, keywords comes up in my feed. Even like, okay, Eddie Van Halen. I'm not really a huge Van Halen fan, but I like them and I play guitar, and Eddie Van Halen is for sure one of the most innovative, one of the best at the time, incredible. But I get a daily feed. Eddie Van Halen's not doing well. He has some serious health issues, and it's like every day. And I'm like, I go to Madeline. You get a feed every day about Eddie Van Halen's health, and she goes, no, So we all have our own news stories. Like Joe Rogan talks about, hey, I get muscle cars and hunting and MMA, and it's like people are like, it's kind of like a caricature. If you look at your feed was whether it's YouTube or Google or whatever, it's you on steroids. So it's kind of a caricature of yourself, right? So it's fucked up. And what is real news? We don't know. Nobody. So you have that. Like, nobody trusts the media anymore. And this, obviously, this horrible president is making it worse because everything's fake. But if the story is not flattering to him, he says it's fake. And now nobody reads. It's a fucking mess. And Matt Taibbi talks about when we used to have Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather and Brokaw and Peter Jennings and now all this stuff is Walter Cronkite. I have a journalism background, but Walter Cronkite, David Brinkley, and then the newer guys. Well, that newer at the time were Dan Rather was at CBS and Tom Brokaw was NBC and Peter Jennings was ABC, and they were trusted too. And then now it's just fucking shit, dog shit. And the network's gone and cable's gone. It's really just the internet. Although, of course, I'm not going to say MSNBC and CNN, Fox, of course, but still, it's struggling. Everyone's struggling, and everyone wants clickbait stories. And let me give you an example that Matt Taibbi brought up. About 6 months ago, maybe longer, last year, there's a great story in the New York Times about Donald Trump's finances and his business dealings. It was like 30,000 words, and they spent more than 6 months, I believe, investigative journalism. And this piece came out on a Sunday, and you know what? It was a hot story for me, maybe 48 hours, maybe less, 36 hours. It was all that work, time, money, and resources. For what? For what? Nobody cares. It wasn't Watergate. And the thing is, now it's all clickbaity shit. Now, if you're a news organization, it's like, why spend all this time, money, and resources if you could do the same thing, just getting a wire and having some clickbaity thing like, oh, Trump got booed, or just like, and it costs next to nothing, and you get as many hits. It's horrible. We are in deep trouble, and without real journalism, objective truth, we're in big trouble. These are very scary times, and this horrible monster Trump is just making things that much worse. Nobody cares. What is the truth? I don't know what's going to happen here. And I have a journalism background. And I study this stuff. This is fucking bad. So anyway, watch the Matt Taibbi interview. It's like 2 hours with Joe Rogan. Really nice guy. And he breaks it down. He's got a new book too called Hate Incorporated. Check it out. Matt Taibbi on Joe Rogan. Good friends, good books, and a sleepy conscience. Peace, love, and understanding here on Tabor Talk.